In the middle of modern Europe, on the outskirts of Stara Zagora, Bulgaria, an event unfolds every spring that feels impossible for the 21st century. Music shakes the parking lot of the Kartla marketplace. Cars circle like a parade. Sequined dresses shimmer beneath the March sun, worn by teenage girls who rarely appear in public without supervision. At first glance, it looks like a festival, bright, loud, alive. But this is no festival. This is a gathering where families introduce their daughters to potential partners, where conversations carry the weight of future commitments, and where agreements are discussed in plain sight. Inside an EU country that upholds individual rights, the practice continues. The question isn't only how it survives, but why thousands still defend it. Every year, on the first Saturday of Orthodox Christian Lent, members of the Kalaidzhi Roma community descend on Stara Zagora. Around 18,000 Kalaidzhi live across Bulgaria, a group once known as coppersmiths, shaped by centuries of discrimination throughout Eastern Europe. To outsiders, this gathering feels like a contradiction. Color, noise, clusters of families talking intensely under strings of bright outfits. But for the Kalaidzhi, it is one of the only sanctioned moments where young men and women can meet, talk, and decide whether a future is possible. Older relatives stand close, watching every gesture. Beneath laughter and subtle flirtation, negotiations unfold. What looks transactional to the outside world is seen here as continuity and protection, a tradition forged by isolation and the instinct to preserve identity. The tension between cultural survival and modern expectations is unmistakable. Kalaidzhi traditions are strict. Young people do not date. They do not spend time alone. Mixed-gender socializing is rare. Marriage outside the community feels unthinkable to many families, seen not simply as disobedience, but as a direct threat to cultural survival. Generations still remember stories of forced assimilation, displacement, and widespread anti-Roma prejudice. Those fears shape daily decisions. Girls often leave school after the 8th grade, at 14 or 15, to avoid gossip or accusations that could damage their future prospects. Their world contracts to home, family, and preparation for adulthood. Historically, this gathering acted as a way for families to ensure a potential husband could provide stability. A symbolic payment served as reassurance, a gesture tied to family honor, and the belief that a young woman entering her husband's household deserved acknowledgement and commitment. Over generations, economic pressure reshaped the custom. Today it carries multiple layers: respect for tradition, concern for reputation, and the weight of expectation. Understanding the event requires understanding the fear of losing cultural identity, a fear still alive in 2026 among elders who lived through harsher eras. Standing in the crowd in Stara Zagora feels like stepping between eras. Elderly women move gracefully in velvet skirts that absorb the afternoon light. Younger women balance in high heels, wearing glittering outfits that turn every movement into a reflection. The smell of grilled kebabchi floats through the air. Boys in polished jackets shout over the music blasting from car speakers. Couples speak briefly, always with parents or relatives hovering close by. Every so often, the rhythm of the day shifts. An older woman quietly pulls her daughter aside, or a father beckons a young man for a private word. In those moments, potential futures are evaluated. Sums of money may be discussed, not as payments for a person, but as commitments tied to responsibility, reputation, and readiness to build a household. In many families, a woman's virginity is still viewed as a symbol of honor and purity, heavily influencing her perceived value in marriage negotiations. Documented figures in recent years range from $7,500 to more than $20,000, a substantial amount in a country where many families earn under $15,000 a year. Beauty standards add pressure. Lighter eyes, fairer skin, and traditional skills can increase expectations. Financial stress magnifies decisions. A young woman who prefers one boy might find her relatives nudging her toward another family they believe offers greater stability. Meanwhile, wealthier families sometimes look for what they consider the best match, leaving others disappointed. Lives can pivot in moments that feel both intimate and public. A quiet revolution is reshaping the Kalaidzhi, and it fits in the palm of a hand. Smartphones. Young women now stay in touch with girls from Sofia, Plovdiv, and Varna. They watch YouTube creators speak about education, careers, and independence. They scroll through images of lives that follow entirely different paths. The isolation that once protected tradition is fading. Some girls remain in school until 16 or even 18, something almost unheard of 2 decades ago. Boys are questioning expectations too. While the gathering still takes place every spring, its nature is shifting. What once felt like a rigid negotiation now resembles supervised speed dating for many teenagers. Elders still influence outcomes, but no longer with absolute control. In 2019, a girl interviewed by a Bulgarian journalist joked that she attended only because her parents allowed her to socialize, but strictly in public. Her tone captured the delicate balance unfolding across the community. Respect for heritage mixed with a desire for autonomy. Quietly, some young couples choose to elope, prioritizing affection over tradition and dealing with the consequences later. It's not widespread, but it's new and significant. The tradition remains, but the foundation supporting it is changing, message by message, screen by screen. International organizations monitor gatherings like the one in Stara Zagora with increasing attention. The United Nations, the European Parliament, and Bulgarian human rights groups emphasize that any event involving teenagers must prioritize safety, genuine choice, and compliance with the law. Bulgarian legislation sets the minimum marriage age at 18, with rare exceptions approved by a court. Critics argue that gatherings involving 14 or 15-year-old participants, even informally, create complicated environments where family expectations can overshadow personal choice. Human rights advocates stress that cultural practices must align with universal protections, including access to education and the freedom to make personal decisions without pressure. Bulgaria supports global resolutions promoting those rights, yet enforcement in marginalized communities remains inconsistent. Many officials frame the issue as a cultural matter rather than a national one, slowing intervention. Activists counter that improving educational access and expanding economic opportunities for Roma families would reshape tradition from within. In cities like Plovdiv and Sliven, programs launched in 2018 have already increased school attendance among young Roma girls. Progress exists, but unevenly. The core question remains whether cultural continuity and universal rights can coexist sustainably in a modern European state. The Stara Zagora gathering reflects many truths at once. For some families, it is a joyful celebration. For others, it is a heavy responsibility. It stands as a symbol of unity, identity, and cultural survival for the Kalaidzhi, a community that has lived for centuries on Bulgaria's margins. Yet it is also a source of intense debate, especially as human rights standards evolve. Change is not coming from outside pressure. It is emerging from within. A new generation is stretching boundaries once thought immovable. Education broadens perspectives. Technology opens pathways. Wider social contact reveals new possibilities. The gathering continues each year, but with every return, it feels subtly transformed, as if the ground beneath it shifts grain by grain. And so the story returns full circle, back to that crowded parking lot in Stara Zagora, where old customs and new possibilities collide. The next generation now stands at a crossroads. Will greater knowledge, wider choices, and digital connection reshape the gathering entirely? Or will economic realities, cultural expectations, and long-standing fears keep it alive for years to come? The future remains unwritten, suspended between tradition and transformation. If you want to follow more hidden stories that challenge the way we see the world, smash that subscribe button and join us for the next chapter.